Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of our Icenia Rises and Potentially Falls, and then Potentially Rises Again campaign. Yes, we are the great, the glorious, the wonderful Empire of Albion. We started out as just this little tiny Icenia tribe. We ended up taking over all of Britain and Ireland and Scotland, and we eventually took over a huge chunk of Gaul. And we created a very long empire, However, we did suffer some loyalty issues and eventually suffered a huge revolt, which actually took almost all of our mainland territory out of our control. It also took the region of Caledonia out of our control as well. We were able to capture that. We focused first on capturing the Isles. We did do that, and then we used that as a base of operations to restrike at the mainland. At one point, all of this was in the territory of the Britannic Revolt. However, we are slowly gaining it back. Now, they actually had overwhelming superiority when we began this war. They had 460 cohorts. As you can tell, they now only have about 232. They didn't have a lot of manpower. They didn't have a lot of money, so we at least outdid them in both money and manpower. Look at how much money we have, over 18,000 gold. That is very good, but still, they had a lot of cohorts and a huge territory of which they could recruit from and they could get money from. So they are slowly building up a treasury, but we are pushing back and we are taking the heartland next of their territory. This is the area that I had captured first. This is the area that I had built up the most. And so if we can take it, then I really do think the Britannic Revolt will fail. In the meantime, we are continuing on our journey. We only have, 30 years left in the campaign, so it ends in 727. So we kind of have to hurry because I don't know if this war will take me 30 years. And I also don't know, with these revolts, I've never actually suffered a revolt like this before on such a large scale, where if I don't get to 100... If I get to 100 war score, will I auto-win? Or do I actually have to capture every single province? Who knows? We'll find out, though, because my war score is ticking up slowly. Well, I guess it's not ticking up, but I'm gaining war score from victory after victory. Speaking of victory after victory... Ooh, where are you going? Oh, I guess you're going all the way up there. Alright, so speaking of victory after victory, we did have a couple huge victories here. I'm actually going to go ahead and hire these mercenaries. Yeah, whenever I come across some mercenaries, I hire them because I'm making plenty of cash. Let's go ahead and maybe push you this way. And you this way. So someone keeps declining to give us livestock. I mean, that's fine. We are also going with this strategy of building up fortifications in areas that we are leaving in our wake. We are doing this in order to make it more difficult for them to retake the land that we are capturing. I find it incredibly important for us to be able to retreat behind a defensive ring of fortifications as we need. Because, well, here's the bottom line. They outnumber us. They probably make more money than we do. They are in very, very good shape. We are winning, but they are in good shape. And someone keeps deciding to decline us some livestock. So yeah, we keep winning, but they're in good shape as well. So we need to make sure that, if we ever did need, we could retreat behind some forts, behind a strong line of fortifications, and then bust out if we needed. I am building heavy fortifications. I'm building, 2 forts here? Yeah, 2 forts in Gasoricum. I'm doing so just in case we do need to maybe even retreat totally from the mainland. I don't think that's going to happen at this point. I'm feeling very solid about where we are, especially considering anytime I run across some mercenaries, I just go ahead and hire them. They are fighting against the Carthaginians as well. We are not their only source of strife. The Carthaginians are making decent headway, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. If we lose some land to Carthage, well, worse things can certainly happen. Our fortresses are coming along. We are making plenty of money at this point as we gain back more and more territory. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we don't get outdone in the naval race. I'm going to build a couple more ships. Let's just make sure that we are in good shape. Looks like we are victorious. Once again, we're going to... Ooh, they're going to move in quite a few men. Let's go ahead and make sure that we can handle this. I think our men will get there. No sweat. Unfortunately, we have a tactics disadvantage, although you can change from something that will be good against bottleneck, like skirmishing. They really like that bottleneck tactic, don't they? Thankfully, our troops were able to hold out. And, well, unfortunately, we still have the tactics disadvantage. We were able to do an absolute massive amount of damage to them, though. Feeling very good about where we are as far as the war effort is concerned. Let's keep on going. Let's give chase. I see no reason to let up. None whatsoever. It'd be great to stack wipe those 1,000 men. Boom, we did. Just makes them waste some manpower. I'm all for that. Let's look at their manpower situation. So, yeah, they're back in a lot of trouble. So are we, and we let ourselves get there by ignoring a lot of these pop-ups. Let's check it out. We have lots of provinces that are in need of governors. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put you as a governor. I don't want necessarily anyone else. We need some new researchers. You can be a researcher. Don't want to hire any of those 0 loyalty, 0 skill advisors, though. We have now officially cut their nation in two. Carthage is advancing rapidly. We are also advancing. This war is going well. This war is going well. I don't think that they have any more troops in the south. So at this point, it's just about keeping Carthage out of our hands. Or keeping our land out of Carthage's hands. Ooh, here's one of their armies. Let's go ahead and give them a bad day, shall we? Now, I'm recording this before the Livy update comes out, although it comes out on December 3rd, so it may have actually already been out by the time you're watching. I am very excited about what it is and what they're doing with the game. I was really excited about the Cicero update. That's one of the whole reasons why I started posting this kind of content up on YouTube. Or posting any kind of content up on YouTube. I was really loving the Cicero version of the game, but was noticing that not a ton of people were playing, at least not for YouTube, and I was kind of going through all the content that was there. And so I figured, you know what? I already have the microphone and the editing software, so I might as well. I do some professional editing on the side. Not that I spend a ton of time editing these videos, but I do some professional editing on the side, well, and for my main job. And so I already have, you know, all the right equipment. The microphone is for, well, I have a lot of Skype meetings, so I invested in a decent-ish microphone. And so, yeah, I had the microphone, I had the editing software. I decided, you know what? I'm really enjoying the Cicero version of the game. I think other people are enjoying it as well, but people are not really posting about it on YouTube. At least not as much as I think they should. And so I decided, you know what? Let's just give it a shot. We'll play a series for YouTube, see what happens. And I'm feeling pretty good about where we are so far, both in this campaign as well as just, you know, kind of in general. Ooh, some barbarians. Don't want to deal with them. Gonna keep moving on. We did take that territory. And and let's keep moving in. I do plan on playing some Livy as soon as it comes out. We'll see if I'm... Ooh, we have captured another one of their generals. In this case... She's an 8-star general. She is the niece of the governor of Italia. I think I'm actually just going to hold her in prison. I think they're really struggling from a manpower point. Yeah, they only have 192 cohorts. This was an absolute mess of a war. Let's go ahead and just look at the casualties on both sides. So they have lost 383,000 men. Wow. Now, thankfully, because this is a revolt, it's not like we're taking a ton of slaves or killing a bunch of pops because, well, we don't want to kill our own pops. At this point, I actually may stop building so many fortresses. There just may not necessarily be a reason to fortify my borders. Although the second I say that is the second I will need them the most, you know? Looks like some barbarians came into our land. I can take on some barbarians. Ooh, let's get you into this territory. Come on, don't take an easy loss here. Oh, we are unfortunately defeated. That's okay, because they lost more men. At this point, we are hardcore fighting a war of attrition. At the beginning of this war, they had something like 460 cohorts. Now, they are no longer at war with Carthage, so they can maybe focus a little bit more of their manpower and their fight towards us. But honestly, that's just fine by me. Carthage takes a little bit of territory off of them, but I'm not too upset about that peace deal. I think I'm going to go ahead and place this army into these boats and move these boats. Honestly, I think I'm going to take these boats right down this major river and attack them from two sides. What would be really cool is if you could build a fortress like here in Lugadrum, and that would prevent, or a fortress like here would prevent navies from like traveling down this river. I don't know how they would like implement that to where a fortress here wouldn't prevent navies from traveling in this sea tile, but ooh, we actually might take a few losses. Let's go ahead and keep moving our men in. Come on, these guys have to be there soon, right? Again, as long as we take less casualties than they do, I'm actually not super upset about losing fights. We are victorious. Of course, I would rather be victorious. Unfortunately, we actually did take more casualties, but this is still such a war of attrition that I'm not even that mad about that. They lost more men than we did. That's perfect. Let's go ahead and get rid of these barbarians, shall we? Meanwhile, we stack wipe another army. Belovis Malararchy. You know what? You're going to be fine in prison. Once again, another stack wipe, although that was just 0 troops, so nothing super bothersome about that. Oh, and these ships don't have anyone in them. I want this army or navy. Another stack wipe? Yeah, so this navy. So let's bring this navy, honestly, like all the way down here. Perfect. How awful. We should take good care of her. Or we can convince her that all will be well, where we actually gain 5 stability and she gains 20 loyalty. I'll do that. We did beat the barbarians. Stability is increased. Cool. We beat the barbarians. Let's go ahead and just finish them out. Man, just what a bloodbath of a war this was. And I gotta say, I kind of loved it. It's still not over yet, though. I shouldn't get too cocky. In fact, we should make sure that we are moving troops everywhere. It appears that the Tarbellians also sense the weakness of the Britannic revolt, and or maybe not. Is that little tiny nation down here? Yeah, it's owned by Dukita, and Dukita's like down here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The Britannic revolt has utterly collapsed. We have won. Well, we haven't won yet. But boy, has this been just a huge, hard-fought, hard-won even, if I dare say. We're taking a lot of attrition, of course. They are now down under 100 cohorts. They started out with 460 cohorts. We have just wore them down. I'm going to go ahead and cross this little sea. Let's move these troops somewhere where they can maybe engage that navy. When I say cross this little sea, I mean cross this river. Alright, we've caught someone red-handed. We could lose 10 stability. I don't want that. Or they could... Basically, we could just imprison them. I'm okay with that. You're in jail. I get a new high priest. That's fine. I'm gonna choose you because you're loyal. Loyalty at this point in the campaign is my most important asset. Or the most important thing I'm looking for in a general. We no longer have any disloyal disloyal characters. That's gonna be big. That just kind of shows how far we've come. How far we've come under a decent general or a decent emperor. Look at you, Divicacus. I know at one point in my tenure as the overlord controlling the game, I had wished that you would die, but alas, you know what? I don't think I need those 26,000 men anymore. I was at one point hiring all the mercenaries I could find, but I don't think that's necessary anymore. Let's just keep pushing through. Keep pushing onward. Alright, so we're fighting in 2 battles. Ooh, I actually thought we were going to lose that one, but it looks like we're actually going to dominate it. That's what I'm talking about. Look at these guys. We are victorious. They take a bunch of losses. We barely take any. And once again, we are victorious, although we actually took more losses than they did. Which isn't great, but, you know, sometimes it happens. Meanwhile, siege after siege is falling our way. This war is beginning to turn. The tide turned. That is for sure. At this point, though, it's all about I have to take every single one of their provinces, I guess, because it doesn't look like I'm going to get more than 65 war score here. That's okay. I'm actually just going to, I think, hire these guys just to help me siege down some territory. It's just a small 12-stack army. I'm going to go place these boats and blockade this port. Meanwhile, I'm actually going to take this army and just go ahead and get ready to force them to fight us. I remember at one point I was actually concerned that their navy would challenge us, although they are down to their last 6 ships. Again, this was all about economic warfare, honestly. I knew that if I could take their major territories where their kind of their heartland, which was this northern Gaul area, that they would eventually kind of crumble because, well, a lot of this territory was just, I never built it up. So because it was never built up, they probably had to sink a bunch of money into it to just make it viable. And, well, this is what happened. They're still at war. They are making a ton of money. Ooh, and their manpower is ticking upwards. So we need to make sure we are doing a decent job. I could go with fort defense up by 30%. I kind of want to do that. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. With my fort defense up by 30%, that just makes it even less likely that they will take any of their fortifications back. We are going to destroy the last vestiges of their fleet. They no longer have the capability to wage war on the oceans. Excellent work to my navies. It was a hard-fought battle to wrest control of the seas from them. I mean, well, honestly, that was never a huge concern. We had the larger fleet from the very beginning, but at one point it did seem like they had invested a ton of money into making sure that their fleet was not completely outclassed on the high seas. And, well, it took us some time, but we were able to completely destroy their naval war effort. We're going to win another close fight. They are going to be forced to retreat. And we are going to continue to grab territory. Ooh. A discreditable dalliance. A young woman named Rihaman, of little note until now, has arrived at the palace in Venta bearing a baby who she claims is the son of the emperor. After some cross-examination, it is clear that she speaks the truth and the child resulted from an inadvisable lark at a banquet. This information is known to only a few of the most trusted guards and advisors of the emperor. Alright, so I can say that this must go away. It'll hurt my legitimacy, although my legitimacy is pretty high. Let's actually make sure that it stays pretty high. We have high support for our heir. We could find our chancellor and try to get him to go for our heir as well. I also could hit that button, couldn't I? We can keep it a secret. We'll lose 5 legitimacy, but one of our generals will gain some loyalty. I think I'm going to go ahead and say I need to make this go away. Do you have a son? You don't. And you're probably not going to have one, so I'm going to say make this go away. I don't want to get into another huge secession crisis, have to fight another huge revolt like this. I feel like one is enough for a campaign. This was definitely my... I always like it when my campaigns have like a late game rival, a late game boss. If you were watching my Very Tall Sicily campaign, you saw that my late game rival was the Empire of Carthage. And at the very end of that, I don't want to give away everything, but at the very end of that we went to war with Carthage and we were able to push them back. And actually, although we didn't take any territory from any nation for the entire game, with the exception of the very beginning when we actually took control of Sicily itself as Syracuse, We, in the very closing moments of the game, with less than a year left in the game, we actually took the territory that Carthage is in full. We took all of that land and we gave it to Sicily. Meanwhile, I'm just kind of playing cleanup at this point. Wow, we won that siege very quickly. We're going to go ahead and move in. I think that that is going to keep them from being able to retreat. So we should win that fight very easily. And potentially stack wipe them. Let's see how many men they have left. They have 94 cohorts left. But I have a feeling a lot of them are about to have to surrender. Ooh, it actually isn't sure we're going to win this. Let's go ahead and move our armies in. Let's move all of our armies in. I'm okay with that. They do have some defensive advantages. They also take a tactics advantage. Man, they really like that. Well, I guess that's not the bottleneck tactics. That's the hair. It's going to be close. They're going to take more losses than me, it looks like. Well, maybe not. But, alas, our reinforcements do arrive in good time. And, oh, they were able to retreat through enemy territory. The armies of Albion are once again conquering land that the Empire of Albion conquered at this point decades, if not a century ago. It's kind of fun revisiting all of these old lands that we conquered. And of course we need to keep you conquering in the south. It is a shame that that army was able to get away. Yeah, because they are definitely rebuilding their forces. Unfortunately, I think it's just too little too late. I don't see us giving up any huge major defeats anymore. We do have lots of fortifications in this. We built them a long time ago to lock down this territory. Keep it out of the hands of barbarians. Keep it out of the hands of, you know, other like migratory tribes that might have come in. So there are a lot of forts to take. This war is definitely not over, that's for sure. But at this point I am kind of at the point where I'm just kind of carpet sieging the territory that I'm taking. We get an oratory advancement. Ooh, tribute income could, I guess, be okay. Although at this late in the game, with just the minuscule amount of tributary income that we're getting compared to the rest of our income, I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. Alright, here come some of their armies. Let's see if they decide they want to play. It appears they actually do, so let's go ahead and move some forces in. See what we can do here. We are going to make them fight. We are the aggressor, so we are actually going to lose this fight. They have 43,000 men. I don't necessarily want to bring in any more. So we're going to lose this fight. That's alright. Again, this is a war of attrition. They lost 4,000 men. We can replace those 4,000 better than they can. They have 127 cohorts left on the field. No, sorry. Yeah, they have 127 cohorts left on the field. So they actually have recruited a bunch of men. I bet they just grabbed some quick mercenaries. They definitely have the capability to do that. In fact, it behoves me to actually maybe even buy a bunch of these mercenaries that they could get, just to keep them out of the enemy's hands. But as you can see, we are making huge strides And hopefully, we'll soon see some victories. Let's stop you while we still can. Alright, so it seems that this is where they want to try to make their next stand. That's alright by me. It's okay by me. I'll see if I can get them to lose a bunch of men to attrition first. And if we can take this fort, well, that would be very beneficial. Alright, so they are going to try to engage us in Reganus. They are going to take hills, so they get the -1 penalty to dice rolls. That's perfect. So very soon, as soon as they're movement locked, I'm going to move all of my troops in, and in fact they never did worry about getting movement locked. So this is plains. That will be a better fight for them if they attack us here. As soon as they're movement locked, I'll move everyone into the plains. It's going to be a tough fight. I think we can do it. They're movement locked. Let's go. All of these armies into the plains. That should make them think twice about this. And indeed, they are going to get utterly crushed. We had the tactics advantage. This lady, she's a mercenary. Britavinda Kulcha, the Gaul. She is a mercenary, but she has been the MVP. Man, if I could give her a triumph, I certainly would. Let's find someone decently loyal. You're pretty loyal. Good for you. I guess I have a lot of territories that need governors. Although I actually don't have a ton of characters because, well, they all decided to rebel against me. Are they at war with Carthage again? They're at war with Carthage for a second time. How did that truce end so quickly? Did Carthage break the truce? What happened there? So that was a good fight. Actually, I think I'm going to press my luck and move these 80,000 men into the forest. Need a good religious advancement. Army morale recovery, I'm going to go ahead and take that. Also, global food modifiers. Definitely going to grab that one as well. We are in year 702, so we don't have a ton of time left in this campaign. Game ends in 727. As soon as they're movement locked, I'm going to move all of these armies in. I definitely want to make sure I hold this fort. I do believe they'll still have to take the river crossing penalty. Ooh, they got in there a little faster than I anticipated. Let's see if we can relieve the army. Good, we did get our reinforcements in. They're taking a bunch of damage. Are they getting the river crossing penalty? No, they're not, so that's unfortunate. We did win, and we also sieged down one of their forts down here, so this army can now come and keep fighting on the front. I wanted to engage their armies, that's for sure. I had a feeling that they might try to engage in one of these chokeholds. I will be sure to build some forts here. In fact, I can already say that this seems like a perfect place for a fortress anyway. How are we doing over here? So let's go ahead and move you to there, you to there, you to there, and you will just keep on marching. So they were, fortunately for us, unable to defeat us on this fort. This fort should fall momentarily. I don't think I'm going to worry about sieging it, or about attacking it though. I have a feeling that was kind of their last grasp at straws. One of their armies is going to be forced into the north, into Germania, whereas the rest of their armies are stuck in the west. Meanwhile, our armies continue to advance. We have once again moved into great power status. Good for us. We also get those 2 capital import routes, which is huge. We have won another siege. That's very helpful. Plus, we're building a fortress here. So let's go ahead, use these 4 armies here to come in and take Germania. Really happy with how this war has gone. I, at one point, was actually fairly certain that I was going to lose this. They had so many more men than we did. They had so much more territory. But alas, it's still a computer. At least for now. And again, I honestly would be okay if this changed, but at least for now it seems like the game AI is still not as good as fighting wars as... Although I shouldn't say that just because I can win a war, they did a bad job programming the AI or something. This was a hard-fought war. I mean, just take a look at how many men died. They lost almost 500,000 men. We've lost almost 300,000, or we've lost a little over 300,000. Half of the planet, I feel like, has been engaged in this fight when you consider the fact that at one point Carthage got involved. Actually, I think Carthage has gotten involved again. Yeah, at one point Carthage was involved. Just have so much land and territory that needs to be conquered. But we're doing it. And would you look at that? We have, I would say, completely flipped the script. Even as late as the beginning of this episode, I was not sure if we were going to be able to actually complete the reconquest of the Albion Empire. However, it seems that, what was his name? Divicacus? Yeah, Divicacus II. It seems that he has proven to be a much more competent commander than his father. And yeah, he has led the true Albion Empire into greatness once more. I don't think they're going to have any trouble cleaning up the rest of this Britannic revolt. Although they should, let's not count them out. They still have 127 cohorts, 33,000 men, and a huge war chest. So they are definitely not out of this by any means. However, we are looking good, and I certainly would rather be in my shoes than in theirs. That is where I'm going to have to end it for today, but I just want to end it with this shot. Keep in mind that at one point they had taken all of mainland Europe back from us, and we were forced to exile on the islands of Great Britain and the United Kingdom, or Great Britain, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Britannia, whatever you want to call it, the Albion Islands, I guess I can say. But we controlled the navy, we had a larger navy, we controlled the English Channel, or what I'm calling the Icenia Channel. We controlled it. We established a beachhead. We built fortifications that, honestly, I think those fortifications, I know I wasn't able to use my ring of fortifications as much as I thought I would, but these 2 forts right here that I built, those were game changers because they, when I was defeated, it was in, I believe, this province. I was defeated here. I went ahead and retreated all the way back behind this fort. They came and took a bunch of land back, and then when they tried to take this fort and this fort, I was able to move over almost 150,000 troops in to relieve both of these forts. We smashed their armies, and from there we haven't looked back. We gained momentum, and we have not relinquished momentum since then. So, yeah, what a episode, what a war. I'm having a ton of fun with this fight. I hope you're having a good time watching it. I'm pretty sure that by now the Livy update to the game is out. I hope you're enjoying it. If you are, tell me about it. Hit me up in the comments, hit up that like button, hit up that subscribe button, and as they say, I will see you in the next one.